Hello everyone and welcome today to my recommendations for the Steam Summer Sale 2025. And whether you're looking for massive AAA games or indie gems, we've got a wide variety of games here to choose from. And we'll divide them up today into three categories: games under £5, games under £10, and games over £10. And prices will also be shown in US dollars as well as euros. So let's get started with games under £5. And we're starting off today with a bit of nostalgia for me, and a fantastic platformer, in Crash Bandicoot, the Sane Trilogy. This package expertly remasters Crash 1, 2, and 3, and offers inventive levels, beautiful graphics, and a really good challenge for those of you with enough patience to attempt to 100% this one. And whether you played this one as a kid, or have never touched a Crash game in your life, Crash Bandicoot the Sane Trilogy offers a ton of content, and at just £3.49 or $3.99, it's an absolute bargain. Next up is Suzerain, a political adventure that will see you take leadership over the country of Swordland and mould it in your image. And with tough choices around every turn and multiple endings, your decisions really matter. Will you be a just leader or a brutal one? And are you even up to dealing with the economy, corruption, power struggles, and everything else that comes across your desk? Or will it all end in disaster? Now, there is a lot of reading in this one to be aware of, but for £4.79 or $5.99, I think Suzerain is well worth a look. Moving on, we have Nexomon Extinction, a creature collector game very much in the mold of the Pokemon series. But there are actually a few things I prefer about Nexomon, like the wide array of starter choices and the fact that the other starter Nexomon are pretty easy to find in the wild. Now, when this one came out, I was a little bit cold on it, but the devs addressed a lot of my concerns, and now Nexomon Extinction is a really solid game, with mostly pretty decent monster design, interesting moves and mechanics, and plenty of content and creatures to catch. Nexomon Extinction is a steal at £1.69 or $1.99. Next, let's go for a regular on these lists as we come to Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. I was probably a bit too young for the original Deus Ex, thankfully, but when Human Revolution and then Mankind Divided came out, I was all in. The interesting world and the choices the game gives you of how to approach situations, be it stealth, conversation, or just good old-fashioned firepower, they really sold me on the series. Now, I could just as easily recommend Human Revolution, but it does feel a tiny bit dated to me at this point, and for new players, I personally believe Mankind Divided is the best entry point for the series. And at just £3.74 or $4.49, now is a great time to jump in. And from the serious to the silly, we move on to Roundabout, a game that sees you become the chauffeur of a constantly spinning car. Yeah, I did say it was silly. You'll have to maneuver, jump, and probably crash your way around obstacles and time trials to get your passengers to where they need to be, and most likely have a good laugh along the way. Especially with the FMV cutscenes that definitely add a lot of character to an already eccentric game. Roundabout is on sale for £1.39 or $1.99. On now to one of my favourite games, and it's Disco Elysium: The Final Cut, an RPG that has you take control of an amnesiac detective and become either the hero of the story, or a bit of an evil mess. And sometimes, even if you try to become the hero by doing something as big as solving murders, or as little as just being a kind human being, you fail and end up right back as a mess. The Final Cut version of Disco Elysium is fully voice-acted, which saves on an awful lot of reading, and every moment of this game is truly gripping and engaging. Personally, whenever I write one of these scripts, there's always one game that I have a sudden urge to go and play through again, and this time Disco Elysium is the one, because it's just so good. And on sale at £3.49 or $3.99, it's a ridiculously good deal. The Portal Bundle is next, netting you two of the best puzzle platformers ever made in the forms of Portal and Portal 2. These games use the interesting mechanic of the titular portals to create inventive, engaging, and at times devilishly challenging tests for your mind. A good dose of humor is mixed into the bargain, and with the co-op mode of Portal 2, there's also a good opportunity to show off the power of your grey matter to your friends. Or in my case, have them come into my game and solve the puzzles for me. Yeah, I'm not good at puzzles. The Portal bundle is available for £2.54 or $2.98. Next to Just Cause 3, a game that offers a massive open sandbox full of challenges, gorgeous scenery, and, mainly, a lot of things to blow up. Stepping into the shoes of Rico Rodriguez, you'll have a sizable arsenal of weapons and some excellent movement mechanics, including grappling and wingsuiting, to keep things interesting and flowing smoothly. Now, there is a story to be had here about liberating a tropical island from a brutal dictator, but if you're like me, the real fun here is just in jumping in and causing chaos from the first second. It's the type of game where I can quite happily play for hours in a row without even touching the main storyline. And at just £1.79 or $2.99, there's plenty of chaos to keep you coming back for more. From chaos to relaxation as we move on to the ever-peaceful A Short Hike. Sure, there are challenges in this game and little quests that the inhabitants of this island give you, but the main goal is just to relax and enjoy. Gliding around the skies, finding coins, and just being in this world is a really fun time. Finding new things to do or ways to traverse give that sense of progress to keep you playing, even for a very chill game, and the amount of charm packed into this one makes it well worth its £3.18 or $4.39 price tag. On now to the cheapest game on today's list, as we put our engineering and puzzle-solving skills to the test in Bridge Constructor Portal. I personally have always found it hard to get into the many Bridge Constructor games out there, but this one got through to me, with the added elements of the portals making each level more of a puzzle than just connecting the dots. And with obstacles, jumps, and a good dose of that old Portal humour, at less than a single pound or dollar at just 71 pence or 99 cents, I'd recommend giving this one a look. Coming towards the end of the under £5 section now then, as we come to Prey, a tense, immersive sim that sees you exploring the space station Talos 1, and never fully being able to relax, as there are hostile aliens around every corner. And what makes them especially nerve-wracking is some of them have the ability to shapeshift into normal everyday items. Meaning that even when you're alone in a room with just a chair and a coffee mug, you still can't let your guard down. There's plenty to do as you explore the ship too, and plenty of ways to play, as Prey lets you upgrade different skills to cater to your playstyle, and many problems have multiple solutions. There's a great amount of storytelling to be found in the world around you too, whether it's through audio logs, emails, or just finding what remains of someone you've been looking for. Prey is a dark and tense experience, and at just £4.99 or $5.99, it's an experience well worth having. Our penultimate game for this section is one of my favourites to pull out when family or friends are visiting, and even those who don't usually do video games. And it's Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. This bomb defusal game has you work together to solve puzzles and stop everything blowing up in your face. Literally. The twist, however, is that the player who can see the bomb can't see the instructions, and the player who can see the instructions can't see the bomb. This should, in theory, lead to excellent teamwork and communication, but usually for me ends up with the bomb ticking down its last few seconds with frantic shouting going on in my living room. Either way though, it's a megaton of fun. Sorry for the bad bomb pun. But anyway, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is on sale for £3.83 or $4.49. And finally for this section, we're going to end with Towerfall Ascension. This archery battler sees you and up to 3 friends compete to see who can take out the others, utilizing items, movement, and, in a lot of circumstances, quite a bit of nerve. It's a ton of fun to get one over on your friends in this one, and just like keep talking and nobody explodes, things can get pretty chaotic very quickly, with players running out of arrows, trying to jump on each other's heads, or simply accidentally hitting themselves with their own arrows. Now, one thing to be aware of here is that this is purely a local multiplayer game. There is no AI, and also no online multiplayer, which is why the footage on your screen right now looks a little weird. The first footage was me playing against myself, trying to record something new, and the second lot of footage that you're seeing right now has a burned-in webcam in the top corner of me and a friend playing this a long time ago that I've had to blur out. But still, at just £2.55 or $2.99, Towerfall Ascension is a great time with friends. First up in our under £10 category, we have Astroneer, a space survival crafting game that has you build your base, research new tech, and construct rockets to take you to other planets so that you can harvest their resources. There is a fantastic sense of progression in this one, and there's a ton of content here that can be explored solo or with friends. And this is a bit more of a chill crafting game, as there are no real enemies, just the occasional plant that wants to poison or stab you. Oh, and the ever-dangerous potential of becoming untethered from your oxygen supply, and then the frantic scramble to get back to it before time runs out. So if you're looking for some space-based fun from the sale, at £8.24 or $9.89, Astroneer might be what you're after. Next up is Kingdom Come Deliverance, which has now got an extremely highly rated sequel, and while it might not be quite as polished around the edges, the original is still a great game. Taking control of Henry of Skalitz, you'll be thrown into a realistic medieval world and work your way up from pretty much nothing, improving your skills, getting new weapons and armor, and exploring a vast world filled with things to do. Now, the only massive complaint I have for this one is that there are one or two difficulty spikes, largely because the combat system is not the easiest to master. But overall, Kingdom Come Deliverance is a fantastic time, and at just £5.29 or $5.99, I highly recommend it. Superliminal is next, a mind-bending puzzler that can be completed in just a few hours. In fact, and get ready for a shameless plug here, I have a full playthrough uploaded on my second channel. And it really did keep me guessing, with its perspective-based puzzles which allow you to change the size of objects in the world around you. I was stumped several times in my playthrough, and at that final moment of figuring it out, the sense of satisfaction is so rewarding. Or occasionally the embarrassment of not having seen it sooner. Superliminal is on sale for £8.37 or $9.99. And from a game that can be completed in just a few hours, to one that can eat up entire days of your life, as we come to Final Fantasy XV. I am by no means a regular of the Final Fantasy series. I've only played a few of the games, but I was genuinely hooked on Final Fantasy XV. The world was intriguing, the story gripping, especially towards the end of the game, and the characters, which I felt sure just from looking at them were going to be very, very annoying, I actually ended up loving. And for me, this one has a way of giving me both a very light-hearted and fun exploration and combat game at times, but also a much more serious and impactful feel at other times. So, if you're looking to explore a vast world, beat up some monsters, or just go on a road trip with the boys, Final Fantasy XV is a great deal at just £9.99 or $13.99. Pummel Party is next, a mix between a board game and a collection of minigames, very much in the mold of games like Mario Party, only a bit more brutal. There's a huge variety of game boards, minigames, and items to use in Pummel Party, and with integrated Steam Workshop support, the options are pretty much endless. Personally, I like to make this one as chaotic as possible, with randomized costs for all goblets, and as many secret end-of-game goblets as possible, so that right to the very last second, anyone can win. Pummel Party is on sale for £6.39 or $7.49. On next to a game from one of my favourite series, and it's Yakuza Like a Dragon. This RPG keeps all the wacky silliness from previous entries into the Yakuza series, but changes up the combat to a turn-based system that sees you party up with others along the way. I always love the blend of seriousness and stupidity in these games, and Like a Dragon is no different. Going from 1 minute facing down hardened Yakuza bosses, to the next minute racing go-karts, or pedaling around the streets picking up cans and bashing other can collectors out of the way. I'd pretty much recommend any Yakuza game, but at £7.99 or $9.99, I think Yakuza Like a Dragon is the best one to pick up right now. Hades is our next game, and this fast-paced roguelite game sees you fight up through the levels of the underworld to escape. Each run, you'll have a ton of options of how you want to fight and what abilities you want to use. You'll feel stronger and better equipped with every run, and the sense of progress from beating that next boss, from getting a little bit further than the last time, will keep you coming back for more. And the desire to experiment and try something new to see what works is massive for me in this one. And at just £7.13 or $8.49, Hades is a great pickup from this sale. As we wind our way quickly towards the end of the under £10 category, we come next to Neon White, a game that will quickly have you slashing, shooting and bombing demons as you dash through each level in search of a perfect time. Getting that next medal is addictive, and this is one of the very few games where I genuinely want to perfect every level I play. The first playthrough of each level became just a scouting run for me, looking for shortcuts and ways to shave time off of my run. And with soul cards offering different abilities and weapons, there's a lot of options to get that time down. When you've planned your route, it's all about executing it with precision to get that medal, and of course, beat your friends' times on the leaderboard. Neon White is a bargain at just £9.99 or $12.49. And finishing off the category is my favourite game of all time, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition. Taking control of Geralt of Rivia, you'll be tasked with tracking down your adopted daughter Ciri and saving her from capture by the Wild Hunt. And while the main storyline of the game is excellent, if you're like me, it'll very quickly slip your mind as you slay monsters, complete the quests that lay around every corner, and spend far too long just playing a lovely game of Gwent. This edition of the game also comes with the massive Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine expansions, which add new regions, stories, and a ton more content to an already content-packed game. Honestly, I feel like this one's been on so many sales that everyone must have already played it, but if you haven't yet, I'm jealous, because you get to experience it all for the very first time. And at just £6.99 or $9.99, it's easily one of the best deals of the sale. On to our final category now, and coming in at just over the £10 mark is Dave the Diver, a game that sees you diving into the depths during the day to catch fish, and then selling those fish in your sushi restaurant at night. But there's plenty more to discover lurking under the waters than just fish. As you upgrade, you'll be able to explore deeper and bring home more exotic fish for your restaurant. You'll also meet an interesting cast of characters, each with their own quests for you to complete, and suddenly, what started out as a very simple game has got much more in depth. Pardon the pun. Dave the Diver is on sale for £10.19 or $11.99, and, in my opinion, is well worth a look. My next inclusion is perhaps the cheekiest of this entire video, as the discount is relatively small, but I absolutely love this one. It's Balatro. Although, I've heard it's supposed to be pronounced Balatro. Anyway, this poker-based roguelite sees you build a deck of playing cards to enable you to make the best poker hands possible. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, no. Because there's also the Joker cards, which give you buffs, tarot cards that do anything from destroying cards to changing them into different cards completely, planet cards to level up how much each type of poker hand is worth, and spectral cards, which can be so powerful they change your run altogether. Not to mention all the modifiers each card can have. Honestly, this one has been my obsession lately, and I've loved building decks that score enormous points just from a high card hand, for example. I know the discount is only 10%, but at £11.51 or $13.49, you're already getting so much game for your money, and it's an easy recommendation from me. Our next game is Football Manager 2024, and it comes with a pretty big caveat, that it's not in any way up to date, with the player database and leagues and all that kind of stuff all being well back in the past at this point. But given that I have several hundred hours in this game, I feel it's still an easy one to recommend. Football Manager 2024 offers an in-depth managerial experience where you'll have control of transfers, tactics, scouting, training, player happiness, and just so much more, with a massive array of leagues to choose from around the world to suit whatever type of challenge you fancy. And, in my opinion, this is one of the best editions of Football Manager to ever be released. Which is lucky, since it's had to last 2 years, but still. Coming in at £11.24 or $14.99, Football Manager 2024 is a game that you can easily sink hundreds of hours into, and has the depth to be infinitely replayable. Our most expensive game on today's list is next, and it sees us almost to the finish line. It's Baldurs Gate 3. Now, I loved Divinity Original Sin 2, calling it one of the best RPGs ever made, and thankfully, Baldurs Gate 3 is, in many ways, even better. With so many different character builds, a diverse and intriguing world, storylines that you can impact and shape, and just an absolute ton of content, Baldurs Gate 3 is a superb game. Now, if you do want to save some money and are looking for a relatively similar experience, Divinity Original Sin 2 is still a great choice. But recently I've been really enjoying Baldurs Gate 3, so much so that even as the most expensive game in this video, at £39.99 or $47.99, I still think it's a great deal. And finally today, another one of my all-time favourites. It's Persona 5 Royal. A game that blends the mundane everyday life of a Japanese high schooler with the dark and twisted worlds that live inside the hearts of wrongdoers. Through entering the metaverse, you'll have to make your way through their palaces, defeating enemies and solving puzzles along the way, all to steal their treasure and change their hearts. And what you do in the real world affects the metaverse, and vice versa, as your relationships with others will make you stronger in battle, and stealing the treasure in the metaverse will make the real world a better place. I love this mix of the bizarre and the everyday life, and the characters and style of Persona 5 are second to none. I could go on and on about this one, but I've done a little video in the past dedicated to Persona 5, so if you want to know my thoughts more, there's a link in the top right corner. Needless to say though, that at £19.99 or $23.99, Persona 5 Royal is a hell of a good deal. And that about does it for the Steam Summer Sale 2025. As always, I haven't played every game out there, and even if I had, there just isn't enough time to fit every great deal into this video. So if you can think of more great deals, let people know down in the comments so everyone can find fantastic games at fantastic prices. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, drop me a like and subscribe for more in the future. Have a great summer, whatever you've got planned. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.